This is the appropriate investor strategy for 2012. So where can investors go in the next few years to firstly protect what they already have and to grow it at above average rates, which is what the vast majority of people need to do? For the majority, it's not just a matter of nice to have returns. It has become a necessity for survival in retirement. There are two main ways to protect and outperform most other folk. One, have a high exposure to precious metals and high quality gold producers. And secondly, to be prepared to actively trade the ranges in large cap stocks, because most of them are not going to trend on a sustainable basis. Before I deal with each of these alternative processes, this is how I see the world both fundamentally and from a technical charting point of view. Europe is a basket case with most banks currently insolvent if government bonds were marked to market, and some governments are also insolvent. It is only more debt and lies that are keeping them afloat. The recent central bank action has provided some essential liquidity to prevent a 2008 Lehman Brothers rerun, but it has done absolutely nothing to address the solvency question. The European summit is at this stage still an exercise in wallpapering over the cracks, because 23 governments still have to get the resolutions through their respective parliaments by March. Best of luck with that. The list of countries effectively shut out of capital markets will continue to grow until the ECB and the US Federal Reserve eventually yield to bond market pressures and start to print unlimited amounts of money. America is improving economically in some areas, but the housing market and their overall debt levels are yet to see any progress. And those are major stumbling blocks to a real recovery. They are also politically paralysed, so any worthwhile change will be minimal at a time when bold action is needed. For these reasons, I'm expecting a continuation of a major deleveraging globally for the next 10 years or more. This will create deflationary pressures for 2012, but after that, when all the massive stimulus which has been pumped into bank balance sheets actually makes it out into the real world, look out for inflation. Now, the consensus view is that gold does well only in inflationary environments. This is actually quite incorrect, with studies showing a close correlation between surging gold prices and negative real interest rates. We have negative real interest rates now with the US and European official interest rates at 1% or less, and real inflation, not the Mickey Mouse government fudge numbers, well above those rates. The reason this occurs is that in a negative real interest rate environment, investors are happy to own gold, which does not pay a dividend. Given the current circumstances, you can be sure that governments will do all in their power to hold rates down to a minimum. Therefore, I'm convinced that gold will break higher beyond $2,000 an ounce during 2012, and possibly by a large margin. I'm also as good as convinced, based on previous cycles, that gold stocks will have an enormous run, and that gains of 500% to 1,000% will not be uncommon. However, it is critical to know which stocks and what entry prices and exit prices, as this coming tide will not float all boats. The second part of the strategy is to protect capital and to outperform other investment avenues, is to actively trade larger stocks from the BHPs and the Newcrests to our major banks in both directions. The signs are we will be in a bear market for another 2 to 3 years, and as the ASX 200 has not changed in overall value for the last 5 years, it is not unreasonable to expect to see that situation extend for a longer period given all the big picture dynamics. This is just a disciplined approach to buy on support and sell at resistance. It's not hard, it's just a different way for investors to think. However, above all, investors need a guiding hand from someone who devotes their life to understanding and working with financial markets. If investing is not your primary focus in life, then utilise the benefit of someone else's research and expertise to make the most of numerous opportunities.